Okay, so what we're going to do here is we have a bit of overlapping over the block. So when we render this, we'll actually have our character on top of the block. So the head will actually flow over the logo, and then when the character pulls the head back, smash it. It will always be on top. Okay, so we have, just as our character takes off here, it doesn't really look like he takes off because our squash is actually being left behind here. It's kind of staying with him. So when he takes off, we're actually going to bring our root object, I'm going to bring that up. And because that goes up, our master control is going to have to go back down. And we don't, our key for our master control is way over here. So what we're going to do is go into our curve editor, go to the Z position for our master control. And this key right here in the middle is going to affect his overall position. So we go forward. I think what we're going to need is have our character stay right about. Bring this down just a tad. We'll have to adjust these handles just to compensate for the fact that that position is now a little bit lower. So our character pops into position, is knocked back. I want to have our character stay in that position before he jumps. So character comes down, squats. We're going to go to our control objects. We're going to select that entire pose. We're going to do the exact same thing what we did before we took off. So off, land. We're going to go take a look at the Y position for our master control. Allow that to hit so it stays flat on the ground. So we can delete that one. We're not completely at 0, 0. Right. So our character comes down, hits the ground, and then takes off again. So what we're going to do here is just rotate our root joint just a little bit. And then we're going to pull that key forward. That way the character is doing something while everything else has hit its pose. So it looks like we have a bit of an antic going on. What we'll do the same thing for the head as well. Really get this character into that position. Go to our curve control. Make sure every key is on the same key here. A few things off. So that rotates down. What we want is that to come here, this head piece to stay. Undo that. So what we want is, we've got a lot of keys here. We're going to go into this pose before we take off, but we don't need this key here, this whole set of keys. Delete them. So our character lands, character settles a little bit more. So right here we're going to go ahead and rotate the root joint down, rotate the head down. Alright, perfect. Alright, so we're going to work on the master control again so our character can pop back up into the air. So you want it to leave its position fast, so we'll hold shift, break the tangent, pull it up like that, and this is where it lands again. So we have the same problem as before. We got too many keys and they're not evenly spaced, so we're just going to come halfway between the graph. We're going to hit key. We're going to delete every other key. Alright, and then we're going to adjust our tangent bar so that it really comes into that key smoothly and holds on to that value for a little while. So we'll grab this one, hold shift, come into the like that. Just make sure it's nice and smooth. Doesn't look completely centered for me. Just move that across. This tangent's a little bit too high. Alright, so you got a nice little arc there, holds it for a while. If we wanted to say suspend it a little while, we can just pull these handles out from that key and just really holds that position for a little while. Alright, we're going to have the same issue with Y. So you have to come into the Y value here. Alright, so our character comes up into the air, stays there for a while. So we're going to clean this up. We'll delete all these keys here in the middle. So what happens is our character jumps, comes into the position nice and smoothly, a bit of a pop here. We can maybe position that a little bit better. See what our handle's set like. Just kind of ease into this key here. What I would like to do is find out where we hit. We hit there. So I think I'll hit a key button for that Y position. I'm going to delete this key here. So I want my character to be moving forward in Y because they jumped, but I wanted to ease into where it hits that point. And when it hits this point, we're going to cause them to go backwards a little bit in Y here. So go to our Y position. Just hold shift and roll our mouse forward, and that will kind of let us see more of this arc here. I want my character to go forward, and then we'll get its Y position forward a little bit at this key too. So our keys are in place. We're just going to grab this key, hold shift, we're going to bring it up, and I'm going to back up to roughly where that arc is, hit key. And this key, I'm actually going to make it look right at that. So actually we'll smooth it out. So I want this to come out of this very sharp. Same with this key here. I want it to ease out, and then we'll come right back out of it nice and hard because that's where it's hitting the object. And it will ease back into its position as it hits the ground. So let's watch the master control again. Play. Alright, so we have a bit of an arc here. We need this one to, this is where it hits. We need this to hit a lot harder. So we'll come back out with that. Alright, the reason why this effect's not selling very well is because we're coming too smoothly into our shot here. I think what we need to do is even this out. There we go. That looks like it hit it. Alright, so let's clean up the movement of our pose here. And okay, so we need to antic. I want to get our head left behind a little bit here. So we'll grab this key here. We're just going to grab the headpiece right there. I'm going to rotate it back. We really want to arc this into. So our character is going to come back, and then we have a bit of a curve issue there. Delete that key. Basically, our keys are going to be forming on the curve editor, nice and smooth curves. So if you look down here and you see a bit of a kink going on here, like right here might be a bit of an issue if we could go investigate what's going on here in the X rotation, I believe. But right now I'm not noticing it on the character, but that's usually where I can find my problems, whenever I see kinks in the curve. So character jumps, hits that nice and hard, causes head to bounce back. So bounce back. I think what we'll do is at this position here, we're going to raise that up in Z so we can keep that arc going. Smash, smash. I don't want my character to actually be dropping in Z value here until after that hit. So here's the hit point, but we're already starting our drop. So what we'll do is we'll take this position here and we're actually going to pull that back. Really wanted to hold that for a little while, and then we'll drop. So character hops, we're not really moving down in Z, and then we drop down. So let's see how all that looks together. Perfect. So character comes up, hits it twice on the way down. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll take a character here, and we have the head starting to turn for this pose. I'm just going to grab that key, leave it, drag it behind so it comes in quick. or actually we'll delay it, sorry, we'll move it further down so the character comes up a little bit later. Then our character pose changes a little bit here. So what we'll do is we'll maybe move this over a little bit, bring the head back across a little bit, see how that looks. It's a little bit. We want to kind of spring him into this pose so he comes in. Right. This one's already hit the pose, so we're going to have it surpass the pose. We're going to come up like this, and we want it to come down like that. So what I did here is I kind of used the keys kind of just to see where I want, and we're not going to keep the keys, but if we go look at the curve controls for the positions of this at that point in time, we kind of see the arcs that we're trying to make here. So we don't really need these keys here in the middle, but we see that Z value and X value need to kind of raise up. So it's just an easy way to see how you want your characters to be turning out here. So we're going to turn this up. It was right about there, and we also wanted X to kind of go up a little bit. So that will do the exact same thing even though the keys aren't there. The character will surpass and lean into the pose. Just checking out this hit. Not a big fan of how we're hitting here. We have a nice one there. Not much happens here. Smash. Let's take a look. I think what it is our character's arc comes down and hits here in the middle. We should try and make the character hit up here. That will make it look like he's not actually dropping during our pose. So we're just bring the character back up a little bit here. Bring his root control forward. Yeah, we'll have him hit like that. Smash, smash, higher, and then drop. Alright, that looks much better. Okay. So at this point, everything's kind of coming together here. We'll watch this one last time. Perfect. So I think what we'll do here is we're going to go and start animating the eyebrows. So our character comes in, and we're going to have a character blink right about there. So to antic for that, we'll come into our character and unfreeze. Grab the eyebrows here. We're going to hit a key for them. They're going to come down a little bit, and then they'll go back up. So our character blinks right before they goes a turn. Right? Come up, and then we'll do a little bit more eyebrow animation here. So we'll come here, we'll key them, and then we'll kind of put them into a pose. So maybe we'll lower this one, raise this one up. Up. In fact, actually, I think I want that the other way. We'll bring this one down, and this one up. It just adds a little bit more